What's happening, everybody? Retro Gaming Hippie here. Now I'm going to show you some things that I just picked up the last few weeks, and we're going to kick it off by showing you that today's episode is brought to you by Brutus, the Barber Beefcake. Not one of my favorite wrestlers back in the day. He was definitely really over, but you know, when you got glass merchandise, you got to use the merchandise. Thank you, Beefer. So, first stop was at one of my favorite gaming stores in the small town I grew up in. It was time for me to start to rebuild my ColecoVision collection. That is one of my favorite systems, and I had given a lot of that to my sister to play with, and I'm not going to see that again. So I stopped by there to pick up some games that were actually quite underpriced in my opinion. Some of them, they probably had been sitting there for a while and they didn't kind of revisit them. I mean, they weren't crazy great deals, but they're definitely great deals, especially this one. Mr. Deuce Castle was kind of a steal for about $10. I haven't played that before. Bump and Jump, something I've played in the arcade quite a bit, but I had never played on ColecoVision. Pepper 2, great ColecoVision game in my opinion. You get to be a little devil and zip up things and run around from eyes. Hard for me to remember. Root Beer Tapper. We knew this in the arcade as Tapper, and the ones I used to play in the arcade actually had a little Budweiser Tapper because you were basically serving beers to people. And of course, you couldn't do that for kids on the console systems. And Venture. I liked Venture a lot. Just the music, the different characters that were in it. Venture was a really cool game. And Pepper 2 also had the instructions. Then we made our way down to a Goodwill. Yeah, Goodwill. No games or anything like that, of course, but comics, you know, and I'm not a huge comic guy, but I like the genre. So it was a fat stack of Micronauts comics, which was something I read as a kid. I didn't really have any of the action figures, but I might go back and revisit it. Of course, you know, it's up and down. You're not going to get the full storyline because I got like issue 9, issue 10, issue 16, so it jumps around. But what I love most about it are the ads in them and getting to reminisce. Of course, you know that's why I have the WF Raw magazines, because they have the cool merchandise catalogs in here that show me all the cool things that I will never see and never definitely got, but I can always go on eBay and search up for them. One of the other comics that was there that was probably my favorite one is, speaking of that merchandise, is this catalog guide from like 1979, a ton of Mego. Of course, because Mego was huge into making toys and merchandise, but just shows you all the things that was available back then to purchase, whether it was flashlights with the logos on that were powered by your hand. So you didn't have to have batteries. It was kinetic energy is what we call that, where you take physical energy and turning it into something like light or, yeah, if I remember, that's called kinetic energy. But just a lot of cool things that I never saw as a kid, probably will never see. Like, look at this, a bat cycle. And you can zoom in on that price, $22.95, $3 shipping and handling. So $25 in 1979, a freaking bat cycle. How cool is that? So that was a pretty cheap buy. I mean, they were like a quarter a piece. They're obviously not in very good condition. You know, they're comics, whatever. Fun to read, fun to look at. And then on Facebook Marketplace, I could gamble with a very obscure picture. I could see a lot of games. I could see a system and controllers, and that was about it. I couldn't really see many specifics about the games. They were asking $160. I did a leap of faith of paying them up front because they were not doing holds. And of course, I was on lunch break, couldn't get there until after work. So I gave them $160. I mean, I could have showed up and they could have said, "Who are you? Who knows?" Oddly enough, when I did show up, you know, and I'd messaged them a few times when I was on my way, hadn't heard back from. They weren't there, but they just left it on the front porch, which is fine. I just picked it up and howdy-ho back to my car going, man, I hope their neighbors don't think I'm some porch bandit, but oh well. It had a mixed bag of Sega Genesis and Nintendo games. I could definitely see bulk. I could definitely see that there was at least 40 games there. So the $160 price, and I could see that there was a Nintendo system and controllers. It was like, okay, there's 40 games. Yeah, it's definitely worth it. Unfortunately, and this was, you know, not the seller at all. They just said a box of games. They didn't get into specifics, but a lot of them were empty cases from Genesis. So this empty case, Ghouls and Ghosts, Hockey empty case. Street Fighter 2 Championship Edition empty case, but I do have it loose, and now I can put this in there. No directions, they're all just empty cases. Rocket Knight Adventures, empty case. There were some that were just game and case, and this is the case here. Sonic 2, Mad 96, Eternal Champions, Ren and Stimpy, Dick Tracy, which I haven't played it on this, but I played it on Nintendo. I think this version is definitely different, from what I understand. Probably there. Hi, Bugger. Maybe one of my buddy will make a little appearance. Outrun 2019. Here, buddy. Yeah, you want to say hi? Want to say hi? Okay, maybe later. Incredible Hulk. What's up, Booger? Here you go. It's my boy. Say hi, Boogie. I call him, his name's really actually Baby Jesus, but I just call him Booger. I know, your claw's stuck. Hold on, buddy. There you go. All right. He's camera shy sometimes. All right, buddy. Bonanza Brothers. Have no idea what this game's like. I'd never heard of it, but it looks interesting. I don't even know who makes it. Doesn't matter. Let's see what it's like. A Sega Genesis power supply. Third-party Sega Genesis controller pad. His and Her zappers for the Nintendo. NES Max controller Nintendo. 2 yellowed out NES controllers. 1 yellowed out NES. No bonus game. NES Advantage. Which these are controllers I don't have. I think I've had them at some point in time, but you know, now I'll actually keep them, especially the joystick. I think they'll be nice for some games on Nintendo. Some manuals, Wizards and Warriors, which obviously the game wasn't there. This EA Sports poster, which is kind of cool. And a manual for Rampage, which is in the stack of Nintendo games that I'm going to get to now. Super Mario Brothers Duck Hunt. If you ever go to a thrift store and you see any Nintendo games, I almost guarantee you, and you're going to say, yeah, you're going to see these 2 games almost all the time. And I'll show you one of them, and I'll get to the other one where it's in the pile. But Lee Trevino's Fighting Golf. Yeah, I've never played it, man. And so I wonder if there's an aspect of the game that has to do with fighting, or else why call it Lee Trevino's Fighting Golf? But that's one of them, and I see this all the time at thrift stores. Milton Bradley maybe should have stuck to board games, but Captain Skyhawk, no idea what it's like. Double Dragon, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the first one. Excite Bike, the first one. And these were all sleeves that were with it too. Some are just generic sleeves and some are Nintendo sleeves, if that's your thing. Russian Attack. Never heard of it before, but definitely very 80s or 90s. Totally rad. No idea what it's about, but totally rad. Is that as creative as you could get? But that's how it was back then. Great time with the cartoon being really cool back in the 80s and 90s on the late 80s, early 90s on Fox, but Uncanny X-Men. Definitely a really cool cartoon back then. And I've never played the game, but I definitely like the picture. It definitely has the mark of death being made by LJN, who, although they make some pretty cool action figures, I think, for WWF, they just didn't do very good games for the most part. Hi, baby girl. Now Mama Kitty's in here now. Baby Jesus' mom. Hi, baby. You want to say hi? Oh, there she is. Say hi, baby. Okay, here we go. Adventures of Tom Sawyer. Never played it. Could be fun. What are you guys doing? Yeah, Boogie's getting some sniffs in. Super Mario 2, of course, a good game. The ice hockey that came out, fun game from back then. I enjoyed, just kind of kicking around playing a little bit. One of the few Nintendo games I actually really played when they came out, because one of my friends growing up, they had it, and I used to go over there all the time and play soccer and pickleball and all that. And occasionally we'd get to play that, but his parents were really against playing video games too much, which was great, because we needed to be outside being kids back then more. Bases Loaded, yeah. Top Gun, the second mission. Iceman should be in that. The other game I see all the time, Silent Service. Guarantee you, along with Aces of Combat for PlayStation 2, I see these games all the time at thrift stores. There's the Rampage that we have the directions for. Rampage is a great game. 1942 by Capcom. So it's a really fun, aerial shooting game, and I actually kind of enjoy the diversity in the kind of planes, because being in the service and stuff and being very familiar with jets and what they do in airplanes, this kind of hits the key. RoboCop, great movie, probably horrible game. Don't know why it's called Goonies 2. It was never original that I remember on Nintendo. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Goonies 2, I'm not sure why. But I do have it already, and it's a fun game. I really like the music for it because it's kind of the theme for it. That might get really repetitive if you play it very long, and I have it, but I do remember enjoying playing it for the little bit I have. Galaga. And one of my favorite arcade games of back then, but extremely difficult, and a quarter eater, Commando. And the game that has the biggest personal connection to me, and more or less because my father, who had to be like 50 or 60 at the time, can't remember where his dentures were a lot, or just getting that age, but Dr. Mario, and he could put this on the highest level as fast as it could go, sitting, at his little computer chair area, not on the main TV, like as close as a Nintendo Classic controller would get you, and he could clear it. He could get through it. I was just like, Dad, how do you do that? He was like, pretty amazing. But Definitely something my dad really loved, and I didn't live at home at that time, and I'd already moved out and moved on a lot in my life. But when I came back and visited and stuff, you know, I just remember the old man clicking away at Dr. Mario. Then it was time for Craigslist and getting something I really like, toys. And not only was it something I really liked, toys, but I got to meet somebody who was super cool. And her name is Heather Hopson Lewis, and she does science fiction writing as well. But even better than that, she has probably got to be the biggest Battlestar Galactica fan that I've ever met, and probably in Oregon. And she was really nice enough to show me her collection. She was unloading some extras from her collection that I saw on Craigslist that had been out there for a while. I finally got the time to get down there and pick them up and meet her, and that's what I did. Super cool collection. She had amazing merchandise and figures and autographs, and I could probably talk to her I did stay there and talk to her for about an hour or so, but I could talk to her probably about for hours about Battlestar Galactica and all the stuff she knew. But super great stuff out there. And I want to say thank you, Heather Lewis, for these items I'm going to show you. I beat up Dusty Cylon Raider. This is the non-firing version. I do have the firing version. I kind of wonder if you can alter these, because they do, and having never seen one, I didn't know that. They do go in, you push the button, and they do shoot out a little bit. I'm sure you could probably go in there and alter that in to make it a rocket firing one if you just got like an old pen and took it apart and used the springs and stuff. But nonetheless, this is a non-rocket fire Raider. Loose Commander Adama. I do have a complete one minus the laser rifle, but one with his cape, but definitely a cool guy. The first figures they ever came out with were these 12-inch. This is a Colonial Warrior, and they had a Cylon. They were 12-inch. He would have a vest with him, if I'm not mistaken, a brown vest, and maybe one other piece of paraphernalia I'm not completely sure about. And when you push the button on the back, you know, his gun lights up. My battery's here, so it's just a light projection. There was no characters on the show that I recall looking like this, but it was the first thing they put out. And I don't know when. I'm sure there's markings, and I'm not going to look at it right now, but maybe this kind of oh, it's right on his crotch. Maybe they just shot these out really quick to get something on the market before the show came out. I'd have to get my magnifying glass, man. The old man can't see. I got magnifying glass for those kinds of things. It's right here, but I'm not going to look it up right now. This was part of something that I've never seen. I know it exists, but it was a shooter, like a handheld, kind of like Nerf gun shooter that simulated the bays that they shot out of on the show, the Vipers. You'd load them up. This is made of like styrofoam. That's what it feels like. Load them up, spring it up, and it's kind of big. You could hold it and shoot out these Colonial Vipers. Somebody got this for a garage sale. It's obviously well loved. It's just kind of a cool little piece to have. I will never find the rest of it, I'm sure, nor will I probably spend the kind of money that this probably commands on the open market. But it's still a really cool thing to have. And then these things, you know, I love the merchandise. Label slapping merchandise at the dime store right here. Couple ships that were never in the series that I ever remember seeing. And I think her and I talked about it. She's like, no. But it has the cool graphics, the cool pictures. You just put Battlestar Galactica on it, and me and kids in the back. Yeah, I get it. I love just the generic packs. There ain't nothing to that thing. Yeah, another vehicle that probably wasn't in the series either. LED Land Cruiser. And again, you know, generic back. And this is probably the coolest item that I might use it, because next time somebody shows, you know, go somewhere, show me your ID, show me your papers. Man, I'm a captain. Captain of the Galactica, right there. Little ID set, man. I don't know how big it is, because if I could put money, I don't think this would be my new wallet. But definitely really dig it. 99 cents back in the day. Of course, a blank package. And she had one other item that she offered, you know, to sell to me and gave me a really good deal, and was a figure that were extras. And this is all extra stuff for her. And that was the Bore, which is more of a rare figure in the series to get, along with Baltar and Lucifer, and maybe the Gold Cylon, which I don't have those three either. That's pretty much what I don't have, is the two Cylons, Baltar, Lucifer, and one of the Daggets, the darker colored Daggett, as far as the original action figures. So really cool to get the Bore figure from. She offered it up, and I picked it up. Really cool that she showed me her collection and sat down and chatted with me for a while, because, I mean, that's why we collect. That's why we do this, is to show people the love we have for the things we have in our collection, and also to share that love with other people. And so that's why I recommend we do. So those are my pickups there from the last few days. Oh, of course, with that Nintendo lot, I got a few cords to unwind, man. It's going to take me a little while, but A lot of the hookups for the Nintendo and things like that I'll have to unplug. I haven't tested that Nintendo yet. I'd be shocked if it works. It's probably going to need at least a 72-pin connector, more than likely, because Nintendos are just horrible. If it was a Super Nintendo or a 64, it'd probably fire right up. If it was a PlayStation 2, you know it would fire up. PlayStation 2s are durable. But anyhow, thanks for watching the Retro Gaming Hippie. Once again, brought to you by the Beefer. Let me know what you think about things I found. Give me your comments. Tell me what you find. Or just say, hey, dude, good show. Remember, I'm the Retro Gaming Hippie. I don't buy nostalgia because I am nostalgia.